Afternoon, everybody. Um, we're excited to go to Mississippi State. Very physical team. They've had some injuries as well. Um, we don't know exactly who they're going to play at quarterback, running back, but they have capable backups at either place. The problem is at quarterback they're totally two different types of offenses that we have to prepare for. Um, we would had to do that some anyway because they're playing both quarterbacks quite a little bit, but um, uh, it's just different now knowing that Will got hurt. We don't know what, and hopefully he's fine, but we don't know where that is. Defensively, they're all over the place. A lot of movement, a lot of blitzing, um, a lot of different movements. You can kind of categorize them, but a lot of zone coverage, a lot of fire zone principal blitz. Play extremely hard. But we're looking forward to, we drove by the grass here, man. It's green as it can be, the best it's ever looked, Haven't been here for 30 something days. And it's good to get back home. We're looking forward and hope that our crowd will come out and help us get a win.
Robert Sanders' situation's been unfortunate. Is there a chance he can come back, or is he done for the year?
I don't know. I really don't. He's not going to play Saturday, but I really don't know. It just depends on how he feels and the progression of his rehab.
People were saying you guys were too conservative on Saturday, but I mean, when you look at it with the struggles of pass protection, was that just kind of the philosophy of no long developing plays and, just get the ball out as fast as possible? And probably was, looking back, your best strategy.
Oh, I thought we called a great game. I didn't feel like we were too conservative at all. I don't know what that would mean if we handed the ball off on third down, but it ended up being good for us, just like it was for Mississippi State when they did it before when they played Alabama. We just called plays trying to make the most yards we can with what we have, where our matchups are. So, no, I don't know. People are always going to complain about something.
I think there's only one other team in the country that had to play 4 straight games not at home. Just now that you've gone through it, we all knew it was a tough stretch before the season. Just was it more difficult than you anticipated? I mean, how did it kind of live up to your expectations? And what are the specific challenges with that kind of stretch away from home?
Well, it depends. I mean, you can play away from home. It all depends, I think, a little bit about who you're playing, I think on the road we played some really good teams, obviously nationally ranked teams and things of that nature, but we caught some breaks because we didn't play every one of them at night. I think we played 2 of them at night, maybe at night at LSU, and was Ole Miss at night as well. The difficult part about playing on the road, and it's obviously the noise, which we hope is our advantage on Saturday morning. When you're trying to develop kids that haven't played much ball, especially offensively, where you're trying to build some confidence and some guys that haven't played, and then you go into a venue like that where really all you're thinking about is, can I hear the snap count? And you're trying to grow from that and those things. So probably if we had a veteran offensive line, it might have been a better stretch for us. Obviously, we didn't win any of the games, so that would be the biggest disappointment. However, I do think we're getting a little bit better, and we have 4 of the next 5 at home, and we still have some of our goals left that we've had at the beginning of the year, but that's a hard stretch. It is a hard stretch, and I wish we could have made a dent in the win column on that. But I do think our team's better than when we last played here at home.
Moody and Campbell practicing a little last week, but didn't play on
Yeah.
Saturday. Obviously, where their status is right.
I think Cam's got a chance this week. I don't know the percentile of that, but I think he has a chance. Nudie, I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I was going to follow up with the corner situation because Keon Stewart went down. And so maybe can you evaluate what you have going at corner and
Yeah.
how they're playing?
Well, I think we're going to get Braxton back, and so that's going to help us tremendously. I think Keon's going to be fine. I think obviously moving Snacks out there, he had a nice game. Who am I missing? Jaheim. Jaheim will be back, and so if Braxton comes back, I think we're going to be fine at corner, no matter how Nudie feels or not. We'd obviously like to have him back, but we'll just have to wait and see there.
These are two different styles of quarterback. So any principles left of the air raid? What are they wanting to do with each of those two guys, you say?
Well, they always have a great running back. They have three they play, but Marks is he's a really good player. Now he's been beat up a little bit too, but that bye week probably came at a good time for Mississippi State. But they want to run the stretch. They want to run a little counter. They want to run inside zone. They are they're very similar to us, to be honest with you, offensively, with Will back there. If you would think back then of when we had Malik Hornsby and that type of offense, roll out, read, running quarterback, fields, leads, that would be where they're at now. But no, they're not air raid by any stretch.
Rocket, when did you find out last week that he wasn't going to be available? Did he have like a setback in practice, or?
I think I found out on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. When was y'all's last day? Tuesday. I found out Tuesday that he wasn't confident in his knee yet, and so that's when I found out.
He hasn't played a whole bunch the last few weeks, but he's still your leading rusher. Just kind of what's been keeping him off the field the last few games?
Well, I mean, obviously we have belief in him and R-Dub and Damo, but we felt like Damo could get the tough inside yards a little bit more, and so that's where we're going there. Excuse me, did I say R-Dub or Damo? I meant R-Dub, and he had 14 carries for 28 yards, and then caught a pass out of the backfield. And then AJ complimented that and averaged about 7 yards a carry or something like that. Some of him were what you're talking about on third down. Some of those were third down runs, but we believe in it. We believe in both of them, and we'll probably split the difference this week with them.
I don't see you're complimentary to Zach Arnett at media days, and I was wondering how well have you gotten to know him? He obviously took over under really challenging circumstances. Kind of what are your thoughts on Zach and job he's done and kind of guy he is?
I think he's done a really good job. He's been hit with injuries now. I mean, he has, and he's tried to take it to a new offense, and obviously he's still working with the defense, but he was calling it before. It's just, I'm sure it's a little bit different. There's a lot of similarities in what they're doing now and what they did last year defensively, but I have a lot of respect for him, and had a lot of respect for him when he was a D coordinator. I do think, if they'll stay with him and that he'll bring a tough, that's what they're going to bring in here, a tough physical team. But I think a lot of his, I don't think they've had problems, but a lot of their situation has come from injuries, and some of their best players have been out.
And the circumstances under which he became head coach, obviously very,
Yeah,
challenging.
I'm sure it was bittersweet for him. I don't want to speak for him, but you know, they needed to hire. They had to hire somebody. You know, unfortunately, and I thought at the time that that was a great uh, hire for Mississippi State, and I still do. Um, to keep it within, there's a lot of reasons. One, I thought he deserved it. Two, you know, the portal is rampant during that time. You could lose your half your team, you know, and I think they felt like they had a good team coming back like they do. And so I'm sure it was bittersweet for him. I'm sure he's learning like I did and like I am. But I do think that he's kept the team together well, and I'm sure it was good for him to get a win last week versus Western Michigan.
Mike Wright, if he is the guy, and he has starting experience at Vandy, he's played some this year. Just what's your take specifically on
He
what he
throws
brings?
better than I want him to. He can throw the football. He's fast. Obviously, they'll run him with run design plays for him, not just read plays where he can have the opportunity to keep it. Run a lot of fly sweeps with him with the opportunity to pitch or keep. But right now, they're reading the defensive end and allowing him to run or hand it off and running naked and letting him throw a little bit out of that. He did throw more against Western Michigan than he had before, but I think he got more opportunity as well, which proved he could throw the football as well. And we saw Vandy he could too.
I think the one guy we didn't hear about injury wise was Pooh. And do you have any update on him yet?
Yeah, hopefully he's going to practice today as well. Him and Braxton. Now we'll see, but hopefully they'll be able to.
The defensive line the last 2 weeks has, I think, taken a step forward, at least from my eyes. I mean, has anything specifically changed rotation wise or anything to get those guys going where they've kind of elevated their game lately?
I don't know. You know, I just think they're playing better. Obviously, Landon Jackson had 11 tackles, 3.5 sacks. I mean, my gosh, what a great game. And he's had them. I mean, he may not have those type of stats, but he's certainly played well. You know, I think our guys are just getting better. You know, like we talked about Nico Davier. I mean, Nico's playing well for us when he's in there, and we got Tank back, and that helps us, and it gives us a bigger body in there, and no, we were a little short linebackers the other day, but our D line are covering up for some of that when we get tired at the linebacker spot as well. But I think Deke's done a really good job with them. They're just really confident right now, playing well.
Touched on a little bit there, but when you look at some of the injuries you've had, you talked about it after the game on Saturday, the depth you have on defense. Some of the injuries you had up front, you had injuries at linebacker, injury in the secondary. And I take you back to before the portal opened, and you said, buckle up. There's tons of players leaving, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then you made 3 changes with staff on defense. Like even then, with so much, there's never been that much changeover.
Yeah,
ever. But even then, when you were making all these changes, you ever envision that? I mean, defense has played
pretty damn good.
25 out of 28 quarters. I'd say they've won.
Yeah.
Ever envisioned all these changes?
Well,
Change that.
probably, honestly, probably not. You know, I mean, but what happened is we went into the portal, and our strength coach is really good, and so we got bigger, we got stronger with the ones we had, and then we went into the portal, and we pretty much hit at every level in the portal. And then we've got guys that understand how to talk to kids and doing a good job of motivating our guys. But we just have more depth, and I think part of it is that they're good recruiters, so they went out and got some guys. And then the other thing is I think the kids really believe in them, and right now they're playing extremely hard for the state and for for the coaches and for themselves, but you can't really turn the tape on and go, man, they're not playing hard. You know, they're playing extremely hard. We did have a couple busted coverages that cost us, which we have to get fixed. One of them was just a mental error on alignment. You know, we thought the tight end was covered up. He was. And they motioned the back out to get eligible. Then they moved their outside receiver off, which immediately puts a tight end back eligible. And we just lost him. And they ran a little corner route with him, and he was wide open. But we had deemed him eligible, which he was. But then the receiver, and really we were looking at the guy going in motion. As the time he gets over there and he gets set, the guy walked off the ball, and we didn't communicate it well enough.
Line. I think last week we actually got Jeff Coat, his big game against Ole Miss, and you mentioned how sometimes it depends on what the offense does to stop those guys. When you've got him on one side and Lane on the other, is it almost kind of like you feel like one of those guys is going to have a big game each week?
I think it's a little bit like, and it's hard. You don't want to. I'm going to here. Alabama has two really good defensive ends, and so you got to figure out which one of them you're going to try to. How your matchup is against them and all that. And I'm sure that's what opponents are doing against us. And right now, which one you're going to pick on, I don't know. And because one of them you're right, against Ole Miss, and then this game and for Landon. So, you can't, it's hard to chip both sides. I mean, you can, but, you might as well just stay in and max out. And, a lot of times at that, but we're very, very fortunate to have both of them, and they're both good against the run. They're both good against the pass. So that's kind of a rarity, because you get more specialization. And you're a pass rusher or you're a run, but those two guys can do both.
Actually, about the 4th-and-1 decision late in the half, but not necessarily to not go for it, but before calling the timeout, would you like to get the guys lined up and try at least a hard count, or was there like the issue with getting a call in or signal in, or just kind of what happened on that play?
I was just going to punt it. I was going in the game. It was on our 50 towards us, minus field position. I was going to punt. And so then it was like this, and I thought, well, if we don't make it, they could blow the game open before half. So the bottom line was we were given the run punt option to Max, and it was my kind of way of going for it on 4th down and not. But I had my mind, it went back and forth on some things, and I knew as the clock was running that we were running the clock down for them as well. But that was our way of going for it.
About your run game against their run defense, I think they're allowing like 1 point yards before contact. How do you think maybe that part of this game will stack up?
Well, we probably gonna have to throw a little bit more, to be honest with you. This is a feast or famine type defense, and not famine, but they're very aggressive on 1st down. And so we've got to figure out how to, just like last week, we went in saying if we got positive yards on 1st down, we were all going to, we hung the moon. We were all going, didn't matter the yardage. It was, we get positive yards. Now we're in manageable situations. I think that's a little bit alike against these guys too, but we got to protect it up. We got to move the pocket, and we've got to throw and catch. There are some runs that obviously we like against the front, but with all the movement and our experience up front, we have to do something different, turn around and hand it off between the A gaps because they're piling them all in there.
I know you mentioned Ryan a second ago, but there's some clips of him on the internet of the moves he made, his pass rush moves. Just maybe, I don't know, when you see something like that go to fruition and SEC defensive line, what that means.
On a losing team, that just doesn't happen. what he's doing now better than he has before is he's turning the corner. In other words, a lot of time he's got on the edge of the tackle, but he hasn't always been able, and it might be because of his injury in the past, always hadn't been able to plant and get under and turn the edge. And right now he's turned the edge really, really well. He's not a lot different. Now he's a little better with his clubs, his rips, his swims. But the key is when he turns, he's turning now, and he's not wasting movement as in this. Once he turns, he's getting straight to the quarterback.
There's been some talk that they may outlaw the so-called tush push. Which saw some of that Saturday. Is that something that if it's going to be legal that you can use on 4th and short yards?
If it's legal, you say? Well, we did it once this year in a fast pace type deal, but yeah, if we think we can get the first down, we will. Like I say, before our game 2 weeks ago, I don't know who it was. I think it was LSU tried to tush push about 3 times in a row against Missouri from the one and didn't get in. So I don't think it's just automatic, but if there's a case where we got some A gaps open somehow, or we certainly could use it. Yes, sir.
Coach, after getting a chance to watch the film, the offense obviously in a bit of a rut in the second and third quarter, but really found a real rhythm towards the end of the game with the 2 touchdown drives. What can you take from the offense finding that rhythm moving forward for the rest of the season? What did you say?
Well, I think you can find, you have to, it can't all be gloom and doom just because you lose. You have to obviously find things that you can do better, coach better, perform better, but you always have to find something good, and certainly we made some plays there. I think some of our bubble screens helped us. I think some of our up-tempo stuff helped us. I think our runners, I don't really recall that I was disappointed in a cut they made or a read they made. So, yeah, there was certainly some things offensively. I thought KJ, obviously made some big plays in those series. He ran. I thought he ran as good or as better than he has all year when he took off. Obviously, he made the Superman type play to keep that drive alive. But you have to find some positives. But because if you don't, then you're just going to get a bunch of guys that don't believe in themselves. And I think we did get better. I know the statistics weren't high. I don't know that anybody has a lot of high statistics against a good Bama defense. But, we scored more points than some other SEC, good offenses in SEC and different things. So I think we're evolving a little bit, and I look really forward to our last 5 games, see where we can continue to grow.
And I wanted to ask you specifically about Jakeem Thomas. I mean, he comes up in passing every single week, but he flashes all over the field. He's leading the SEC in tackles right now. How impressed have you been with him coming in from Cincinnati?
Well, I think too, and it's unfortunate y'all can't just get a really good personal relationship with our guys. If you did, you would love the guy. I mean, he's mature, a guy you can count on, tough. But for him, it sort of goes back to what you're talking about, Trey. For him to come in here and do what he's done for us is, and in this league, I think it'll help us go out, if we need to, go out and get another linebacker out of the portal. But for him to do that, it's just, you look at it and go, well, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's not normal for that to happen. And we're really happy with him. And he's just, I think part of it is he's such a good kid and he does a lot of film study, and it's important to him.
Linebacker for a second. I think Antonio Greer's got 12 stops the last 2 weeks. Has something clicked with him, or is it just maybe a result?
Well, he was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt. Didn't really have time to practice. So, obviously we've always thought he's a pretty good football player, but he just has been hurt, nagging stuff, not major, had a ham forever that we couldn't quite get healthy, but just now he's not hurt, and he's always hadn't had a problem with confidence, so he just playing healthy now.
Did a little bit here. Post game Saturday, and then you touched on it a couple questions ago, the up tempo offense, the no huddle, and how that kind of gave you a spark. Is that something we can maybe expect to see a little bit more of now that you're back home and you have that sound advantage
Boy,
outside?
great point, because it's going to be easier, without noise. I mean, it's going to be easier. So it worked. So yes, I mean, obviously, if it doesn't work, the answer is probably no. We're not going to do it anymore. But it worked, and I'm not saying that it just made them line up faster. We had a little success on some plays. Because right now, without that, what's happening, we're standing up there and they're looking over getting their calls. And obviously, you guys know we're more of a pro style offense, so we need them to line up so we can identify the mic and all this kind of stuff. And so those plays we're running, we're just front side point and let's go. And so we're at least making them line up, and we're not standing there for 10 seconds, which I believe affects the way you come off the football. So absolutely.
In regards to being home, have you felt any mood shift in the locker room knowing that you guys are back on friendly territory?
I haven't been in there yet, but I'm sure I will feel the excitement from the guys at our team meeting today. Man, because they love the fans. I mean, everybody does, and so I think, and from what I understand, we're almost full, and which is really something to be said about the state of Arkansas, especially where we're sitting right now. But they come out and they're supporting the kids, and that's what it's all about. We got to give them a reason as well. So we need to come out and play well, but we really appreciative of that.
I have a similar question, one maybe psychological, but you go, you're 4 games on the road against some big logo teams, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, road warrior mentality, and you are coming home to friendly confines and Fayetteville home crowd. How do you manage that kind of shift in mindset to make sure it shifts right? Because you guys have come up short, but you've battled on the road, and making sure you keep that against a team that has gone 0-3 in conference at home. Just it seems like a major shift.
We got to win. We have to win. We have to win Saturday, and to reach again when the season starts, you have all these goals, and there are still some on that we had. Now they may have been down here to get up here, but there are some still attainable goals that we have, and our kids know. I'm going to talk to them today about it, but this game Saturday is a big, big game for us, and they all are, Trey, but you keep backing yourself up into a corner, at some point you got to go forward, and we've proven that we've got a pretty good football team. We haven't proven we can win. And so we've got to do that Saturday. I think our kids will understand that. There are some things in that locker room that, the kids that have been here for 4 years have started that we don't want to let loose. We don't want to let go of. I think there's a lot of motivation things. One of them being getting back home and playing. We want to show the state of Arkansas that we got a good football team, a good enough one to win. So there's a lot of motivation there.
Changes on defense up and over. And the way Jaden Johnson was playing last year to how he's playing this
Unbelievable.
year. And then, Hudson Clark seems like the last couple of years,
Unbelievable.
if it rains outside, somebody can blame him. It's an opportunity to talk about the play of those 2 guys and how much they've stepped up.
He gained about 12 pounds, Clark. And man, I don't know what we'd do without him, but he's a good tackler. He's made a lot of open field tackles. Can't blame him this year. He's done a great job, a great kid. and then you talked about Jaden Johnson. I think he's one of the best stories that I'll remember when I'm through coaching. And that, he'll have to, you can ask him about it, but we had a heart to heart after the season, and I'm not for sure. But he wanted to come back. He wanted to come back, and we had a heart to heart. And at the end of that deal, I never lost confidence in him, but I never would have thought he would turn and be what he is now. And I think he's going to continue to get better. I do give credit to, some of the, the motivation factors for him and things of that nature too. But yeah, you wouldn't have thought it, but I'm so glad it happened. And I love both of the kids, and they did it. I didn't do anything for them. They did it, but I'm really proud they did.
You mentioned a little bit after the game, saying you caught a couple of passes.
Yeah.
Touchdown. Just seeing in a game like that, maybe give you more confidence to give them some more opportunities like that.
Well, guys, you always are trying to give different guys, you can't just say, okay, because you got 4, you know what I mean? And he hadn't, really done much the game before, last 2 games until I think he caught 4 balls the other day. So you've got somebody who obviously is ahead of him, you know what I'm saying? And he's not getting the catches. And then it becomes even harder. If you believe that your evaluation is correct, so it was good because Tesla had 4 catches and was doing some great things. And then we were able to get Satanian in there, and it was a great throw, great route and catch, and he kind of think another little maybe a little bubble screen out there, and so that's going to help his confidence too. So is the returns. It's really helped him in the return game too, and I think he's going to get another one here for too long. He loves to do it. He's not afraid, and he's athletic, so that's what you need down there. You got good hands.
Fourth down play. We saw him rugby it really well in the past Saturday. We've seen him also boom it traditionally. Are we seeing the full kind of Max Fletcher that you thought you were getting whenever you were?
Man, that's the one thing that I missed in that our kicker and our punter Saturday were as big of weapons. I mean, he averaged 50 something yards a punt, 55 or something. And you're right. I mean, he could rugby, he could conventional punt. But the greatest thing, watch him when he gets a good punt. I mean, he'll fire up everybody, I mean, he's so excited, and yes, I'll be honest. I didn't know if he's going to be where he is right now, but I mean, he's a weapon now. And if you can gain 10, 12, 8, 6 yards every time you do something, before you know it, field will flip for you. And as long as you're not turning it over. And really, really proud of him. And Cam Little's he's just a badass, That's what he is.
Perfect. Thanks, sir.